All right, just a quick look at the news really quickly. Just had a quick tour come through, and if anybody comes through, we might have a full show. But right now, I'm just going to give y'all a quick news brief. Israel strikes vessels, pausing UN efforts to evacuate ships from the Hormuz. So slow progress on peace deal as Iran strikes ship in the Strait of Hormuz. So Iran strikes vessel in the Strait of Hormuz amid debate over transit fees. And U.S. crude oil falls below $70, resuming losses after attack on cargo ship near Oman. International aid arrives in Venezuela after that deadly earthquake. So over 500 dead in Venezuela earthquakes as rescuers race to find victims. Venezuelans displaced by quakes sweeping the streets, plazas, and cars. Tonight the ground wouldn't stop shaking in Venezuela. Foreign rescue teams reaching quake-hit Venezuela, where 589 are dead, many are missing. Trump finds partner in Supreme Court in his war against immigration. So that's something that folks are talking about as well. So definitely that is a news item also. Ex-National Security Advisor to plead guilty in the classified files case. So that is something that folks are talking about as well. Let's see other world news that has taken place. And all along those lines, scientists reveal the secrets of ancient scroll burned by Mount Vesuvius nearly 2,000 years ago. The papyrus scroll burnt to crisp during the Vesuvius eruption, deciphered with the help of AI. Yes, AI was helping in that as well. Inside the stunning recovery of the lost Herculean scrolls. So they read the scroll things, AI helped decipher ancient documents charged by Vesuvius. And definitely, Australia plans tougher enforcement of youth social media ban. So Australia plans to strengthen laws banning children from social media. 80% of the Australian children have escaped the social media ban. So PM flags the strength and power of e-safety commissioner for social media ban as it happened. So Australia pledges tougher enforcement of social media ban for teens. South Korean ex-First Lady sentenced to 7 years for bribery scandal. South Korean courts give ex-First Lady Kim Keon-hee 7-year jail term for bribery. The South Korean court jails former First Lady for 7 years in the bribery case, and all along those lines. Gonna bring in Kim Calhoun, see what she's got going on in her world and everything like that. Yeah, I know we were starting late, but I had a tour. Didn't know I had a tour, but it was a hop-up tour and everything like that. So I know the European heat wave is setting records across Europe. So Europe's record-shaking heat wave would have been virtually impossible just a few decades ago. So France heat this week was worse than a dire scenario imagined for 2050. So definitely that's something folks are talking about as well. And South Korea is to train all active duty soldiers to operate drones. So they're going to train their soldiers to operate drones, and they're going to be training 500,000 drone warriors to counter North Korea. So South Korea to train 500,000 military personnel to become drone warriors. And Pope Leo opens consistory, asks cardinals for frankness and loyalty. So New York Times says in their opinion section, it's time to put this Catholic teaching to rest. Pope moves to clarify when wars are justified, and Trump probably won't like the answer. So Pope Leo the 14th says war never blessed by God as he opens the meetings of the world's cardinals. And Ukraine decimates Russia's logistics, bringing chaos to Crimea. And a small aircraft crashed into the CITIC Tower in Beijing. So we all know about that famous crash of ours in 2001, but apparently a plane crashed into Beijing's tallest building, witnesses are saying. So a small plane crashed into the tallest building in Beijing. So that's definitely, and King Charles III is to pay over 30 million pounds in personal taxes. So he's got to pay more than $39.6 million in taxes, is what the palace disclosed in the UK first. So he became the first monarch to reveal tax bill as royal public funding is to double to 100 million pounds. So looks like he's gonna have to pay and everything like that. So that's something that folks are talking about as well. And Gulf states are weighing living side by side with Iran as Tehran weaponizes Hormuz. But like I said, that's what I got on my mind. What's going on in your world and everything like
Oh,
that.
talking about weaponization of our senators in Congress right now. And I'm expecting a big blow up eventually because I just watched Tom Tillis explode over the fact that they're arresting and giving people who have like supposedly taken parts of the reflection pool and they're giving them, 35 years or something stupid like that. And they've been, they've just recently prosecuted some Democrats and called them fascist and or whatever. But I mean, they are weaponization of their political power to imprison people that shouldn't be imprisoned. And then I sit there and I watch Tom Homan and another senator, oh God, I can't remember which one, but anyway, one of them was reading out the names of the Haitians who committed a crime that they caught. They could actually just read out the names in 5 minutes. And this is why we have to stop immigration and deport everyone. They could read out the names. Well, I want people to know 12 million women a year, American women, and 24 million American children a year. That's, over 30 a minute are abused, raped, tortured, many killed by American men who identify as heterosexual, not trans or bi or gay or none of that. Okay. By American males who identify heterosexual every year. This is what's happening. Read those names out. Or is it okay for these senators that the crime is committed by American men because they're overlooking the Epstein files and turning away and supporting the pedophiles there? Are they saying it's okay for American men to do all of this to women, but it's not okay for immigrants? I say get rid of all the criminals, prosecute them appropriately. So that's my little soapbox. Albanians today, or this week, by the millions are uprising. They're also hosting some quiet protest here in the United States. But I have been watching videos where they have literally broken down the razor wire fencing that the Trumps put up. And what people don't know is that this island apparently was part of the communism parties and wars over the years. And so they have a lot of underground bunkers and things like that. I feel like it was going to become an island for whatever, but we all heard the Ivanka story of how they swam out there to the island and walked barefoot all the way up to the top. You can't walk barefoot on those beaches. I just want people to know, I've been there. And you can't. It's going to cut the everyday American's feet because we're not used to it. There's a lot of shells, a lot of stones. Believe me, you can't just gracefully and happily, like a little Trixie, walk up those mountains either, because they're overgrown just like our mountains, the hillsides and everything. So no, they didn't just swim out there barefoot. Where the people are angered is the prime minister met with them on the boat, and all of these transactions went down then without notifying any of the people what he was doing. And he basically is accepting $1.4 billion for the island. I guess it's going to become another Epstein Island. But the Albanians are saying, oh, heck no. And I'll bring some photos of the beaches so that you can see but the water is crystal clean. It is the cleanest, most beautiful water I have ever swam in my life. And took boats out into the ocean area. Absolutely gorgeous water. We don't want to ruin that. But it's been rumored, and I've got videos of the Albanians breaking through the razor wire and the fencing that the Trump family put up for their construction sites, and they have destroyed all the construction trailers. They've thrown them down the hills. Now somebody's got to go clean those up, and odds are it won't be the Trumps. But I would say when that many people are telling you to leave, it's kind of like the ghost in the house, and it says, get out, leave. These people don't mess around. They got rid of communists, okay? Like you would get rid of cockroaches out of your house. They ran them out of their country. They dealt with them for many years, abusing them, torturing them, grooming them to become something that they shouldn't have. And they threw them out of their country, literally just threw them out of their country and ran them out. And those communists, majority of them did come to the United States. So maybe that's what's going on here, is they're trying to get back Albania. But Albania belongs to the Albanians. The prime minister, I'm going to say shame on you for not consulting the people, the public who supported you. who is behind you, and now you're just handing them over. And I believe that all of this kind of comes back around to the Epstein files and how they did business, and they target what they consider weak people and people that they think that they can, lure with money and things like that to become their sex slaves and their children and stuff like that. That's not going to happen with the Albanians like you did with the Romanians. And Romania slowly kicked you out. But that's not going to happen with the Albanians because they're still recovering. So then you have the Social Security and Medicare that is just gone. There's not going to be any money. And both sides, Republicans are now coming out and saying, yeah, it's not there. And, they're blaming Democrats. Stop blaming people. Let's fix the problem. They're saying, oh, it's all the Democrats. No, it's both parties. I'm sorry. Both of y'all were used the money inappropriately, and all of y'all should be in prison. Reopen Alligator Alcatraz and just dump them in there. Also on the news of AI, Apple is coming back with an AI tax. We're 1 minute over the hour. And they're going to supposedly what they call brick 200 million phones, and you can't unlock them unless you pay the AI tax. So there's going to be a lot of things going on in the Apple world where they're going to be taking control over your stuff. I'm sorry I ran over, but I just kind of wanted to shoot some things, and it took me a minute to find you. But I want to say, on Monday, let's bring up some of the stuff that's going on in AI, because I want to share a very interesting story that just happened to me. I'm going to try to replicate it, but it's kind of hard to replicate. But I want to try to get it somehow happen again and record it, because it was AI reaching out to me about something. AI reached out to me. So
Coco mentioned something you talked about on her show, because she talked about how she was almost scammed. And I know we got the Medicare show and the timeshare show, but she was talking about on her show yesterday how she was almost fell for one of those cyber scams. So definitely be careful if you're out there, because there are a number of those.
Well, the Medicare scams are not people scamming Medicare. Right. The scams are, we allow insurance to run Medicare. Oh, that's one more thing I wanted to add. Trump has just come out with, and it's always existed, and Mark Cuban went to him to do this, but he's come out with what he calls the Trump RX plan for prescriptions. And it's Good RX. If you've used Good RX, it's the same thing. He went and negotiated rates so that we pay the same thing everybody else does around the world, but it's nothing different. Mark Cuban asked him to do this in his last term, and he kicked Mark Cuban out of his, no, we don't need to do that. Now he's doing it, but instead of calling it Good RX or RX for the people, it's called Trump RX, and I'll guarantee you he's making a kickback from it.
No, I'm sure he's making a kickback. And just really quickly, what you said about the Albanians, that's something that we've dealt with even in Durham, where people will sell out their communities or sell out people and all along those lines. So definitely that is historical.
I've fought that for years in Raleigh. Yep. The city council will sell you out in a heartbeat to big developers. And the reason why I was able to and got involved was because where I live is a lot of land, but it's the watershed. There's a primary and a secondary. We're the secondary but I feel like we're the primary now because they overbuilt on the primary. But yeah, that's another whole story. I'm sorry, I was late. I couldn't find the studio. So
no, and that didn't create it. That was my fault. So that was
right. I see that.
Go ahead.
I guess we'll wrap. Are you going to continue the show? I have to run. I got to go help.
No, we can wrap it up really quickly. I was just trying to get something in for today, just because I like to have something.
Thank you.
It was a short one, but I was just curious. Did you see about these country stars that were sued for closing a steakhouse? So Luke Bryan and Jason Alden were sued for $1.4 million after they closed their Nashville steakhouse. So I just saw that in the news as well. So a real estate company is suing country music stars as well as former Major League Baseball player Adam LaRoche following the closure of their Nashville steakhouse. So Village 21 Investment Partners LLC is seeking more than $1.4 million in damages, claiming the closure was a default on their lease agreement. The lawsuit filed in Davidson County Circuit Court.
Well, if it's a default on their lease agreement and they have the money to pay, regular Americans like you and I every day have to cough up money when we default on our lease agreement. You're going to go to court and you're going to lose more money. So just because they're wealthy shouldn't give them the get out of agreement card. Yeah, get out of jail card. Just like, the Trump administration and all the rich people are getting the get out of jail and hell card. Well, they're not going to get out of the get out of hell card, but the get out of jail card for raping those little girls in the Epstein files. So, I'm a little frustrated because you have somebody like Ted Budd getting up on stage at the Senate floor and talking about we need human dignity and I'm the voice of human dignity for the unborn, but then they turn around and they don't treat that unborn or they don't treat that unborn when they become born and a human. They don't treat any humans with human dignity. They detain them, they torture them, they treat them like crap, inhumane. So no, don't preach human dignity if you can't practice it with humans. Yep. Just don't. And I'm coming down on all of them about it. I'm sending letters after letters of do not get on that Senate floor and preach human dignity if you're not going to treat people and humans with human dignity.
That makes sense. And everything, by the way, I just
put up your assets. Yeah, hi, Sharif.
You are very popular in Bangladesh. We are just discussing about you with cultural ministers today.
Oh no!
So as soon as possible, we're gonna. I want to welcome you all. It's become exciting here. It's like all of the universities and the government agencies and the corporations, they are joining, and everybody love Pot TVs. And I like actually. I don't know. I want to welcome you in. I have a largest business incubation in South Asia. It's called Chittagong Engineering University Business Incubations, and we are launching the CEO development program. There are a lot of women in Bangladesh as an entrepreneurs. I think that they can be our good audience for Pot TVs, as well as they can learn a lot of good things from your advice, from your guidelines, for your very innovative approach. And especially you have good heart. I like it.
Well, thank you. We try. And I see Sasha's coming in, and I think we also have a Sasha show coming up. Hi, Sasha.
Hello.
But the world today is just being disrupted, and I would love to come to Bangladesh, and I bet Sasha would like to come. Maybe we somehow or another get the whole team there. But yeah, absolutely. But I think what we need to do is start uniting. And when we have senators on the floor talking about human dignity, but they don't treat anyone with human dignity, we need to make a change. And it's very disturbing what they're trying to do in Albania and other countries, and I hope we stop it. Unfortunately, I have a run, so until I see you guys on Monday, take care. Don't forget to watch Sasha's show and update, and y'all have a great conversation.
Sasha, I know I've got the other show running as a rerun, but what's going on in your world and everything like that? Just really quickly tell folks I did start late because I had a tour here at the Cultural Center and everything like that. So what's going on in your world?
Well, Ukraine is starting unprecedented attack on Russia. Zelensky has 40 days plan to either defeat Russia or bringing Putin to the negotiating table. And there is nothing about Trump in this respect. Trump is absolutely helpless and useless in this affairs. The Europe is 100% behind Kyiv, supplying all the weapons and experience and everything, logistics or so on. So the Russia is doomed. It's going to be over very soon.
Sounds good. Hey, Sasha, were you surprised that Turkey beat the USA yesterday? And maybe they'll have a good match against Bosnia. They are going to go to the knockout round and everything. But were you surprised at the results of that game?
Yeah, I was somewhat surprised because I understood that the US already qualified first place. So they didn't care really. They could lose 10-0, and it wouldn't affect neither US nor Turkey, because Turkey was out anyway. Okay, so Turkey did their best. Actually, they played quite well. So I think it wasn't the best match for US, definitely, and it didn't affect standing, as I said. So Turkey played really well yesterday. I must say, if they would play as well the two previous games, they would definitely qualify, because they were second strongest team after US in the group. It was quite obvious to me before the tournament and the way they played, but they had 62 attempts on a goal in two previous games, and they couldn't score even one goal. That's really quite an unusual result. It's highly incredible, but it is what it is.
Yeah, what do you think about these in round of 32 matches? I see that your current country, Canada, will be playing South Africa, so that should be a good match. USA will be playing Bosnia and Herzegovina, and Netherlands will be playing Morocco, and Brazil will be playing Japan. Those all sound like they could be highly competitive games.
As they're all very competitive games. Even Brazil, Japan is competitive game. The Netherlands against Morocco. Highly competitive game. Very difficult to predict who is going to win. Morocco is very, very solid game. Very good in defense. Holland is very good in attack. Very well prepared team, actually. I don't know. I will probably give slight edge to probably to Holland, except that if Morocco will play on 100% of their abilities, they will win. That's what I think.
We have another sports news that's interesting, because we all know the famous case where the person said that they couldn't breathe, but apparently there's a former NFL player that died after he was pinned face down by Oakland police during a mental health crisis. So they're saying that Doug Martin died after being pinned face down by Oakland police during a mental health crisis, with the lawsuit claiming this restraint was a substantial factor in his death. So there's a lawsuit where they're saying that basically the police were being a little bit overly aggressive and everything like that. So this just came down because he apparently was nicknamed Muscle Hamster and was a standout running back for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, earning Pro Bowl and All-Pro honors. And it's remembered as one of that franchise's 50 greatest players. But do you think that the police sometimes are overly, and this is for both you and Sharif, overly aggressive in the way that they go after suspects?
Sorry, I don't know what to tell you.
Okay, fair enough. Like I said, I just you thought they're like, how do the police treat suspects? Are they, because y'all still have the horseback police in Canada, right?
Yeah.
The Mounties still exists, right?
Maybe.
Okay, wasn't sure. Things like that. Hey, Sharif, what you got going on in your world and everything like that? Because, like I said, I started the show late because I had something going on here, so we don't have to go a full hour. But definitely, what do you got going on in your world?
Yes. Yeah, actually, my world moving very fast. We do all of our activities with the government agency, corporation, and academia. So we have some very interesting project like CEO development program. We are launching it in CHUET, Chittagong Engineering University. Secondly, we have our conference. And this conference we may organize in France, in Paris, definitely in Stanford universities, and in Bangladesh. This is our plan for next 1 year. So I want to invite Pot TVs and all of the speakers in this conference and so on. And hopefully it can create some interesting values for us. But interestingly, I'm observing that here in Bangladesh and in South Asia, youth are doing excellent jobs with their creativity, with their innovations and so on. So the wise people like Sasha, you can make some difference. Especially, I really like your investment things. My group of companies also working as a brokerage house for stock exchange commissions, like buying and sell stock, like stock and so on. So I'm interested maybe your investment programs, we can introduce these things. And beside that, another interesting aspects I always look for, Sasha, as you are smart and investors and you have a deep understanding about investment, do you think that the Western world share market investor, they may be interested to invest in Bangladeshi stock exchange or Bangladeshi stock markets or the corporations? What's your thought?
It's hard to say. There are probably some people who would be interested to look into alternative investments in developing countries or so on. Most of the investors that I know of, they're interested primarily in North American stock market, specifically NASDAQ, and there are incredible companies, well capitalized. But even then, you have to be careful because there are huge corrections from time to time and people lose a lot of money. But it's just like a market cycle. So they're going up for a while and they're going down and up again. So it's it's a different game altogether. Sorry, I have to say goodbye to everybody because I have to leave. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
No problem. Like I said, I was just going to do a quick episode and everything like that. So I appreciate you being on as well, Sharif. I just want to get us to 30 minutes, and we're almost at 30 minutes. So let me see if I can find some other quick news and everything like that. But then we can wrap up and all along those lines. But let me see if I see some very quick news and everything like that. So if you hold on 1 second, Dr. Sharif, we'll see what else is going on, and then we'll wrap this whole thing up and everything like that. So hold on 1 second. And we'll wrap everything up very quickly. Let's see, I just saw something. The ex-Trump advisor, John Bolton, pleads guilty to retaining national defense information. So this is a former Trump advisor that is saying that he retained information. Supreme Court allows the end of TPS for Haitians and Syrians. I think that's part of what Kim was talking about. So nursing homes, factory owners, and immigrants brace for fallout from the Supreme Court ruling and everything like that. House GOP agenda gets 10 years Trump lifeline. So that's something else that we're hearing as well. And the jury in the Palisades fire suspects federal trial deadlocked to resume deliberations today. So jury reaches verdict. Actually, it looks like they reached a verdict in the arson trial of the Palisades fire suspect, Jonathan Rendernecht. So jury's deadlocked in the arson trial. So it definitely looks like there's mixed views as to what's going on, but it does look like they're still dealing with that case. And President Trump at the Great American State Fair. So the Great American State Fair opens to mixed reactions, and the Pennsylvania skipping Trump State Fair celebrations joining Massachusetts. So there's some states that are skipping it. And the California wealth tax on billionaires is heading to the November ballot. So that's something else we're hearing as well. And Mayor Zohran Mamdani secures a rent freeze for New York City tenants. The final rent guideline board vote approves 2-year freeze, fulfilling Mayor Mamdani's campaign plan. So raise or freeze New York City rents. Board fulfills Mamdani's pledge for $1 million for 1 million apartments. So they voted to freeze New York rents, and that's a victory for Mamdani. So definitely that's something going on.
Yeah. What's your specific?
What did you ask me? Dr. Sharif? Hello? He froze. He froze. Get to some entertainment news because apparently he froze on me. The Bear is over. Here's what happens to Carmi, Sydney, Richie, and more in the series finale. So The Bear at the closing time, Ayo Edebira and Jeremy Allen White reflect on 5 seasons, and critics review the new DC movie Supergirl. So Supergirl takes off with 13 million first day at global box office. So audience, Supergirl's Rotten Tomatoes audience score soars higher than that of the critics. Critics praise terrific Millie Alcock, but are split on the movie. So some people are liking the movie, some people are not liking the movie. King Charles will not move to Buckingham Palace after renovations, state functions, offices, and tourists. Plans for a revamped Buckingham Palace. But the King and Queen will not live at Buckingham Palace. So they will not live in the palace after its $487 million renovation. And HBO releases Larry David's American History sketch show. So definitely there's a sketch show dealing with American history. And New York's Police Department has been briefed on the rumored Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce wedding. So a Taylor Swift wedding at Madison Square Garden, no one believes it, but new clues point to Taylor Swift wedding event at the Madison Square Garden. Even Madison Square Garden's cops can't believe Taylor Swift wedding rumors, but we'll find out if that's going to actually happen there or happen someplace else as well. But definitely that's something going on. For some reason, Dr. Sharif is fading out, but I'm here to wrap it all up and everything like that. But let's see what's happening technology-wise and then get us ready to get us out of here. Today is Prime Day, so people are still trying to get their Prime Day because Prime Day deals in tonight and everything like that. And the Steam Machine sticker shock, even more Ubisoft layoffs and another Xbox price hike. So that's definitely something folks are talking about as well. And Google Android 17 gaming mode. So there's a new gaming mode. And of course, people are trying to get those deals and everything like that. But on that note, getting ready to get on out of here. So I'm going to hit the 30-second marker and get us on out of here. But fun show, interesting conversation. Let's get on out of here.